Hi, my name is G, founder of Healthy Financials. I'm also an accountant, and we are creating this series on our website called Healthcare Connection. I personally believe that we are living in a very interesting time in the United States when it comes to healthcare, and especially with the Obamacare that's been in place for a couple of years. And there's so much information. I'm talking about hundreds of pages to understand everything that the Obamacare does, what it doesn't do. And what we did was we kind of like streamline main important information to share with you guys. At first, we're basically breaking down this series into three different parts. The first part is get more business, and then the second part is how do you pay less taxes, and then the third part is basically staying connected. So we're gonna talk about the first part now. How do you get more business? This series is mostly intended for any healthcare practitioner. So whether you're a doctor, you're a nurse, or you're a chiropractor, any type of physician, or you own like a pharmacy. So any healthcare practitioner can definitely benefit from this video. So the reason why I say that we're living an interesting time is because maybe you're aware of it or you're not aware of it. I don't know where you are right now. But back in 2010, President Obama signed into law that Affordable Care Act, which is known as the Obamacare. And basically, in that, the whole goal was to provide health insurance and then also reduce the cost of health care. And there are a couple of things that I feel like it should be said and it should be shared in order to educate healthcare practitioners. The first one is Obamacare was signed back in March 23rd, 2010. Okay, at that time when he signed that into law, according to the statistics that we have, there was about 50 million people that were uninsured. To be precise, it was about 48.6 million. So before that, before 2010, we're looking at about 50 million people that didn't have health insurance. And now, which is 7 years later, we have about 20 million people that are uninsured. So within that 7 year period, according to the statistics that we are finding out, more than 20 million people actually registered to get healthcare insurance. So I think that's very important. And now, basically, today is what? Today is the 20th. It's actually the day that Trump is getting into swearing in as president. And basically, the Republican and Trump, they have a different perspective about the Obamacare, and they decide that they want to repeal some of it, they want to keep some of it. So this information is actually continuously being evolved. So you guys definitely have to stay connected to know more about what's going on. But what's interesting to know and how will it affect your business is the fact that none of those changes will take place before the earliest is 2018 or 2019. This is very important in your business because by next year, 2018, all the rules that they put in place for the Obamacare, all of that can be changed. But so that's one of the things to keep in mind is President Trump, is looking into repealing some of the item, which we're going to discuss later on regarding the Obamacare. Now, the third thing to mention is as of December 21st, 2016, which was like about a month ago, 6.4 million people registered for health insurance. This is major because within like last year in 2016, within the open enrollment period, they had 6.4 million people who weren't covered before, now that are covered. So therefore, there is a lot of people who weren't insured before, now that have insurance, and they can go to any type of physician for preventive care, for sickness, so on and so forth. So that's why personally I think we're living in an interesting time when it comes to healthcare practitioners, because we're going to have more pool of people seeking medical attention or preventive care. Okay, so now what are the basic the if I'm the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, I think when we picked it up, it was about almost 900 pages or something like that. So it's very long, it's very big. But one of the key points that they made is actually they want people to have health insurance. I was listening to the farewell from from the President Obama, was like, okay, now they have about like 20 million people that they would like to get insured. So that's one of the goal as he's leaving office now. That's one of the goal that's still pending. Now that we have a new president, this is going to change a little bit. But one of the things that we have to keep in mind that is part of the Obamacare, even for this year as this tax season, is if you don't have health insurance and then your income reaches a certain level, you're gonna get a penalty for it. Because their whole goal is to everybody don't have health insurance is to actually give them health insurance. So for instance, this year it's about 2.5%, and last year but it was about 1.5% a fee on your income. And that basically the way that they calculate this, it's not in the scope of this video, but I just wanted you guys to be aware that eventually you will get a penalty if you don't get the health insurance. Now, something to keep in mind, because I'm an accountant, I do several taxes, for individuals and then for business. Last year we had some issue. We're running that 1095 form. So technically it was the people who were actually applying for health insurance, and they were applying to the marketplace. Now, at the end of the year, they do send you a form stating the months that you were insured and the months that you weren't insured. So for the months that you didn't have any health insurance, you are actually being charged a fee. And there's a couple of ways to actually to go about calculating that fee. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is if you don't have health insurance, under the Obama rule, you will get a penalty. Now, I think the Republican is trying to reverse that. They are trying to repeal that, but it's not the scope of this video. Now, 7 things that I think that are kind of interesting why they decided to do the Obamacare in the first place. The first one is the high cost for health insurance. Before the Obamacare, getting health insurance was really expensive. So that's one of the reasons why they did the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Okay. The second one is millions of people were without health insurance. They couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. So that's one of the reasons that drove them to actually to do this. Now, one of the things, it's actually when you read at those documents and you're trying to discover more about the industry, is the fact that there was some type of discrimination in the system. So for instance, if you have like a precondition, the health insurance company may not have accepted you, or they reject you. So that's something that like I wasn't aware of, but it's apparently it's a big issue where people are getting rejected because they have some preconditions. So that's one of the aspects that the Obamacare actually take into consideration. Another thing is number 4 is like they want to do additional preventive maintenance. So one of the things that the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act is trying to do, they are trying to encourage people to actually to go to the doctor more often, to actually to do some type of preventive maintenance. Okay. Now, another aspect of it also is number 5, young adults. This is something that up to age 26, and this is, like I said, right now it's in the process of being repealed or not, but if you are under 26, you can be in your health insurance of your parents. So that's one of the things that basically one of the reasons why they established the Obamacare, right? Now, another thing is healthcare costs was a big issue in regards to the budget of the government. So that being said, is they wanted to reduce that cost. So that's one of the reasons why they put the Obamacare. And then finally, which for me I think it's the most interesting one, and it's a healthier America. What do I say about this? Because if you're sick, you can't go to work. You can't earn any money. So or take care of your family, whatever that you have to do. So I really believe that there is some, some extreme benefit that's gonna come out of this, because the more healthier people are, the better it is for the economy, more productivity, and who knows what's gonna happen in terms of productivity. We have more people in the workforce. We basically have more output. So that's a very it's kind of very subtle, but it's also very important, because the people as American, it's like, okay, if you're sick, you're not gonna go to work. So I really think that gives America a competitive advantage, in the world, by just having, healthy people, going to work and then doing what they are supposed to do. So those are really the seven major reasons why they established Obamacare. And then if we think about it, from 2010, to 2016, within like 6 years, almost 7 year period, they registered about 20 million people, which kind of like, it's an interesting number. It's an interesting number, even though the implementation was not perfect. There was some issues. I remember there was some issues with the website for people trying to get coverage. They cannot get coverage, so on and so forth. But at least I think they're moving into the right direction. So as a healthcare practitioner, there are like two other things that I would just want to mention also, to kind of like educate basically your audience. And one of the reasons why we're doing this, in order for you to get more business, the healthcare practitioners, is to go out and then to educate your audience. And what do I mean by educating your audience is whether you are doing a seminar, whether you're doing a workshop, whether you're doing a podcast, a video cast, however you want to call it, but it's actually reaching out to your target audience. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that you can start doing as of right now, and basically reach out to people and get more business, for your enterprise. Another thing to keep in mind to educate client as well, or patients, they can apply for a flexible spending account or a health savings accounts. Those are actually two different tools that's available in terms of the healthcare field, that can benefit basically an employee or any person that are eligible for it. And then finally, something that I did a video prior to that is preventive care. One of the things that we need to understand is the way that the tax code is written, is the fact that if you have a prescription from a doctor that is, for instance, for prevention of any type of certain disease, this is deductible. I'm just going to use, something very basic or very simple. Let's say that you have, high blood pressure or anything like that, right? If you have a prescription from the doctor, this becomes deductible. Now, if you have to purchase some supplement, and then the doctor gives you a prescription for it, you have to get some supplement or do certain things in order for you to prevent from having high blood pressure, this is deductible. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is whenever you're talking to your to your patients or to your client, basically there are some items that when you're preparing your personal taxes, that you can deduct into your taxes. So it's very important to actually to let people know what they can deduct, and then why they can items that they cannot deduct. So keep that in mind, is having a prescription for preventive care. It's something that's very important. And why is it important? Because it will, in some cases, it will actually reduce your tax liability when you have to fill your personal taxes. So this is like the section one of this new section that we're creating on our website, which is like healthcare connection. So the first part is, how do you get more business? Get more business by educating your audience. And I just give you guys a couple of very great tools to actually to go out and then share with whatever audience that you have, in order for them not only to do some type of preventive care, but to take care of their health, in order for them to be more productive. Again, my name is G. I'm an accountant. I'm the founder of Healthy Financials. So for more information, go to our website, healthyfinancials.com, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.